No other law enforcement agency in the world has more hands-on experience fighting terrorism than the Diplomatic Security Service at the U.S. Department of State. Diplomatic security agents are trained to be part diplomat, part street cop, part security officer, and part counterterrorism specialist. When you combine this philosophy with real-life operational experience in almost 200 different countries, you get one of the most professional organizations in the world.
The Diplomatic Security Service's Special Tactical Force, MSD, is the elite of the service. These operators are highly trained and experienced in special operations and counter-assault tactics.
The Mobile Security Division in the Diplomatic Security Service is our lead corps.
The Mobile Security Division has special training in providing security support as tactical support teams to the Secretary of State and to high-threat protective details.
They're the folks in the muscle car who provide that extra firepower should it be needed, God forbid.
These Kevlar-clad operators are often on the front line, prepared to respond to any type of terrorist attack.
Everybody up!
The most frightening thing about terrorism is it can come in a moment's notice. It can come pretty much anywhere. And so we must be prepared to meet that threat head-on in whatever direction it takes.
In this training scenario, a protective detail of DS agents must respond to a sniper attack upon their protectee. The motorcade's exit will be blocked by the arrival of additional terrorists. To evacuate the dignitary, a DSS backup vehicle has been positioned nearby.
The Mobile Security Division are able to respond to an attack, allowing the protective detail itself to lead. So they're specially trained and specially equipped in order to take on the attacker. So now the attacker has to face these guys, and they're not able to attack the principal who's moving out of the threat. I think as a whole, looking at the numerous types of threat that exist out there, that there's not a better trained group of people in the U.S. government. Just to look at them, you might not want to try to attack them. And I know how many threats we have against the principals that we protect. And I can tell you that it's significant and it's dangerous. If there is an attack, they're the end result. You know, they are there to take on that attack.
Coming in! Clear!
So in the scenario as it unfolded, it was a situation where a shot was fired. The missing principal, the dignitary, was brushed into the car very quickly. The motorcade started to move away. Another terrorist car came by, blocked the access, got out, and they fired a machine gun. Meanwhile, you had our tactical support team engaging the terrorists. You had our regular protective detail engaging the terrorists as well. The terrorist that was up above sniping went down rather quickly. And then we had a secondary attack that was thwarted by our tactical support team. Protective detail, since the car was down, had to now evacuate the principal out of that car and move him back into the establishment. Once they got in the establishment, they were going to race them out to a secondary vehicle, a stash car, and move away from the scene.
Training for such an attack under realistic conditions is vital for the diplomatic security service. In this scenario, we are taken inside the world of the Mobile Security Division, Diplomatic Security's elite tactical force, as they train to counter an attack on a motorcade. Although the terrorists have secured the high ground and have assumed a series of advantageous firing positions, MSD operators are able to hold the attackers at bay and safely evacuate the targeted diplomat. Security inside the embassy is provided by a combined effort of DSS agents and special detachments from the U.S. Marine Corps. Operators from the Mobile Security Division routinely travel to embassies around the world, like Cairo, to train with the Marines and prepare them for possible terrorist attacks.
We run scenarios, we run react drills, and they will respond accordingly. We set up an environment where we will stage types of attacks. It may be a bomb attack, it may be a chem bio incident, it may be a mob, it may be an intruder. It allows them to develop responses that are clear and crisp.
In this scenario, a Marine is dispatched to investigate a disturbance. The Marine is attacked and repeatedly stabbed by two intruders who take the Marine's sidearm and escape into the heart of the facility.
Attention the Marine House, attention the Marine House. We got an intruder on the compound. We have an intruder on the compound. All Marines.
If an intruder was to enter the building and we were to notice him on camera, we would immediately notify Post 1. Post 1 and Post 4 would notify the Marine House. The Marine House being located on compound, the Marines will quickly be brought down.
Attention all Marines. Attention all Marines. Prepare for red room for intruder. Prepare to the red room for intruder.
They go down to the react room, they man their gear, and the individual that will command the react, the sergeant of the guard, or whoever's on post as a sergeant of the guard, commands the react force, and he runs the entire drill. And they have designated search areas. They would start in those areas and they would try to contain the individual in a certain area.
Alpha team over here. All right, listen up, this situation. We have an intruder in the building. Post 5 was attacked by two intruders. One have a knife, one have a gun. The mission is, Charlie team, I want you to go investigate Post 5. He's by the ACS. Go.
Using a ballistic shield for cover, the squad advances toward the downed Marine. For safety, they move in stacked or tight formation, while a combination of Remington shotguns and Beretta 9mm pistols are strategically positioned to provide 360-degree protection.
Bravo team, not consented.
The Marines must be able to deal tactically with the situation before the intruders can fortify themselves in a location and potentially take hostages. Charlie Squad quickly but cautiously drags the injured Marine to a secure location where first aid can be administered. two remaining squads of Marines have quickly cornered the two armed intruders.
Here we go.
Keep the knife away, keep the knife away. Go, Lamar. Put your arms up. Put your legs. Freeze! Hands up! Back away from gun, stop! Get on your knees slowly. Put your arms on the deck. Split. Keep them down, I'm gonna call it in.
The REACT drills are good for us for various reasons. We have no idea what can happen, so we have to be prepared for just about anything. The only way that we can be fully prepared is to always practice. Make it as difficult as possible for things to happen on your watch. There are Marines that were here before us that have done their job. I would be remiss if I allowed it to happen on my watch.
In this training scenario, the Mobile Security Division responds to a chemical attack against the residence of a high-ranking diplomat protected by the DSS.
We're ready to go.
In an instant, a quiet residential area can be transformed into a scene of death and horror. The agent posted outside the residence is immediately overcome by the effects of the nerve agent. The toxins quickly make their way into the building's intake systems, sealing the fate of those inside. For the members of the Mobile Security Division, executing a rescue operation in such a deadly environment can be life-threatening.
We've developed a process which we feel will help safeguard our individuals while they're out on emergency missions or working protective operations. This involves chemical protection equipment, decontamination procedures, looking at detection systems, and containment system.
The tactical team moves quickly to save their protectee. Two agents have succumbed to the lethal effects of the nerve gas, leaving the ambassador still alive but clinging to life. The tactical team performs a quick medical assessment of the stricken diplomat while placing a gas mask on his head.
You can't work or be effective in a poisonous atmosphere. Since this attack basically was attacked against your airwaves, if you can protect your breathing, you can go a long way to protecting yourself in the attack and help other people.
Once the gas mask is securely in place, agents supply the protectee with a series of atropine injections in order to counter the effects of the chemical agent. The protectee is quickly moved to an outside location where an MSD medic attempts to stabilize the victim.
We haven't seen the old things go away. Kidnapping still happen. Truck bombs are still our biggest worry. This is another one that we have to plan for.
I clearly do not believe that the terrorist threat that we're currently under is going to decline in the next 10 years. I think that's the collective opinion of the intelligence community also.
There's an extreme challenge out there for the next 25, 30 years, and there's no end in sight. We don't even see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Our opponents are tough, they're smart, they're unrelenting, and we have to be the same. We have to be better than them.